In this video, what I'm going to do is calculate the average rotational velocity of Mars for a person standing at the equator. So if this is the person standing right here, we can look up this distance here, which we'll call the radius. And in this case, the distance between the center of Mars and a point along the equator of Mars is 3,397 kilometers. Now the other bit of information that I need to know is how long it takes for Mars to rotate on its axis once. And in this case, you can look it up and you can see that Mars rotates on its axis once every 24.6 hours. We'd like to calculate the tangential velocity of this person right here, which we usually write with a v with a subscript t. Now I want to do this in units of miles per hour, so what I'm going to do first is convert this units of kilometers over to units of miles. Now I know 1.61 kilometers is equal to 1 mile, and what you should see is that this unit of kilometer then cancels out with this unit of kilometer, and what you do is you do 3,397 divided by 1.61, and that will give you a unit of miles. And when you do that, you find out that the average radius of Mars is going to be about 2,109 miles. Now this isn't the distance that a person standing on the equator of Mars travels as Mars rotates on its axis once. The actual distance that this person at the equator is going to travel is going to equal to 2 pi times the radius of Mars, because the person is going to make one full revolution around the surface of Mars. That is, they're going to follow a circular path. So in this case, what we need to do is we need to do the distance that they're going to travel is going to equal 2 pi times the radius, which in this case works out to be 2,109 miles. Now if we assume that Mars rotates on its axis at a constant velocity, the tangential velocity is going to be equal to the distance the person travels along the surface divided by the time it takes for that person to travel the distance. And in this case, this will work out to be 2 pi times the radius of Mars, which is 2,109 miles. And we said that Mars rotates on its axis once every 24.6 hours. And when we do 2 pi times 2,109 miles divided by 24.6 hours, we get an average tangential velocity at the equator of about 538 miles per hour. Now one of the things that you should also take into account is that approach the axis of rotation, the velocity of the person is actually going to decrease, the tangential velocity is.